Afternoon, everybody. How are you doing today? Having fun at Dreamforce so far? Yes. Have you been to the concert last night? Yeah. How do you like it? If my voice goes up and down, it's because I talked to Hans, who was next to me, all during the session, and I think I lost my voice. So, hi there. Good to see you. So, I want to thank you. I want to thank all of you for coming for this first ever breakout session for transportation logistics. Give yourself a round of applause because you are paving the road for the future. Thank you so much. You are the customers, partners, and partners to be. Everybody who is in this room, I want to thank you so much for coming here and sharing with everybody our story for transportation logistics. And we have a packed session today. We have 3 live demos. These are no smoking mirrors. This is how our customers are using Salesforce platform today. Transportation and logistics is fascinating industry. If you are in transportation logistics, you are in the right industry. Because just in 2016, according to Pitney Bowes, there were 65 billion parcels shipped just in 2016. This is unbelievable. So, if you think about Merck facility in China, who is our distributor for medical pharmaceuticals and vaccines and medications, who are using their carriers to ship all over the world, and they want to make sure that everything is getting shipped on time, in full, in the most effective way, to their customers. And our customers today, which is all of us, are connected. We're connected because on every app that you download on your phone, the first question that you get asked is, would you like to enable location? And the second question is, would you like to receive notifications? The third question is, can you share your contacts? And the fourth question is, would you like to sync your calendar? We're moving fast. Fast is not good enough. In transportation and logistics, to be proactive, to be predictive, it's important. Our customers are smarter. They are smarter because they can make smart decisions, because they have this mobile device in their hand. So what I'm showing on this slide, this is a true picture from energy.gov of how this carrier is using solar panels to refrigerate his containers. This is a true picture of a customer. So what you see here on this picture is that the mode of transportation doesn't matter. What matters is the customer experience. Our customers, your customers, they want to have a memorable experience so they can enjoy doing business with you. And they can trust you that everything will be delivered on time and in full. So, smarter, connected, and fast. We can talk all day about the future technology. We can talk about autonomous trucks. We can talk about truck platooning. We can talk about augmented reality. We can talk about Hyperloop. But we are here today about to talk about the technology that is available today to get closer to your customers. Let's take that story to our neighborhood. And I would like to start with a small business. Sweeton, Vermont. They need to ship sensitive product, which is maple brittle, and they use their transportation logistics provider, Pika, fictitious company that I came up with. And they deliver to their customers, and they are happy to get these pictures from their customers on Instagram when the customers are happy that everything arrived on time and in full, and maybe they got a proactive message saying that the truck driver is on his way to your facility. But it just happened that Pika Logistics is also supplying Cabot butter to Sweeton, Vermont. So think about that business. How complicated that can be for a small business that want to be big in the future and do more business with you. How complicated that can be to depend on transportation logistics when you get your supply from them, and you need to ship your customers to retail customers by using transportation logistics providers. Sweeton Vermont's story starts with the research. When you think about us, all of us, when we plan a travel or a trip, we start with the research. And we're looking for what will be the best price for our product to get delivered to the right location on time. If we need temperature monitoring, if you need vibration monitoring, anything that we need for our products. And then when we go and we're doing our research, how do we do our research? We do our research online, right? We take our phone, we go to our PC, we do it tablet, we do it online. We want to get a quote. We want to get a quote instantly. We want to get a price. We want to book it. And there are two very sensitive points, which is during pickup and delivery. How many of you got a sticker at the door when you were expecting to get something? I can see you nodding. So everybody's familiar with the sticker at the door. That can be very, very difficult for a small business when you're waiting to get your packages or we need to deliver something. An invoice. How many of you have people in your company that all they do all day long is talking to customers about invoice issues? And feedback, remember, well, that's going to tell you about my age. But a few years ago, when you went to a restaurant, you got a note on your desk, on your table, and it says, if you liked us, tell your friend. If you didn't like us, tell us. Well, this is gone. What do we have today is Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest. All social is available, and all of us, for every travel, on everything that we do, every company that we work with, what are we looking for? Reviews. How do you get feedback from your customers? So you want to create this experience that is not going to be heavy on paper trail and heavy on touch points. You want to create this experience with your customer. It's going to be smooth, like booking your next trip, like booking a seat on a flight. This is the experience that we want to create with our customers. So if you think about more than one mode of transportation, if that includes trucks and rail and ocean carrier and ports and customs, that can be very, very complicated. Who is here from Maersk? How are you doing? Thank you for coming. According to Maersk Research, thank you, we have this data. We have a data about 200 interactions and 30 people involved in shipping one container. How many containers are on a large vessel? 18,000 containers. When you do the math, how much we spend in shipping one container, you think, what the hell are we doing? We have all this technology available. What are we doing? How are we going to change it? How are we going to change it so we can close this gap between shipping lines to our customers using the technology that we have today? We have robotics. We have cloud services. Have you heard about the new term, TaaS? Everybody likes these, 4 letters with the AA in the middle, as a service. It's transportation as a service. This is a new term in the industry. Transportation as a service. Mode doesn't matter. And using mobile? Come on, we're all using mobile. So how we can leverage this technology? And this is why you're here today. You're here today because you are the pioneers of this industry, and you already recognize that the technology is available to you, and now you're thinking, how am I going to use this technology to get closer to my customers, to ship on time, in full, in the most effective way, to create this memorable experience to our customers. So there are a few examples. With Community, you can connect between carriers to shippers. You can ask, you can do CPQ, you can ask for a quote, you can get a price, you can collaborate with sales. We're all global. You have offices all over the world. You have different divisions in your company. So you want everybody to collaborate and know the customer the same way that that one person who have that interaction with the customer, and it doesn't matter where he is. You want to get service anytime, anywhere, on any device. Maybe on chat, maybe with a live person, with a live agent. If you have fleet, maybe you want to do field service and dispatch somebody for repair. And it can be for shipping line on trucks, and it can be for rail, it can be for anybody. And the platform, a new word in the industry. I hope I'm going to say that right. Platformization. Platformization. Did I say it right? Everybody is moving to use the platform. What is that platform? Well, I'll tell you what's that platform. Everybody has a phone. What's the platform on your phone? iOS or Android? Salesforce is a platform. When you buy Salesforce, you buy features that are out of the box. But we have great partners who developed on the platform, the same like any developer that is developing on iOS and Android. So if you want to get feedback from your customers like we talked before, you can download an app to put on the platform. You can have transportation management solutions on the platform. You can get connected to blockchain on the platform. You can do so many different things on the platform. And connected to cargo. We want to connect everything. We want every data that we have to be able to analyze it and take an action based on that information. If you think about ELD, hours of service, detention time. If you think about PTC for rail, so there are a lot of data points that we want to collect and be proactive. We want to be preventive. We want to be predictive based on that data. Just to have the data doesn't help us. The question is how you bring business value by having this data. Well, these are few of our customers, some of them are in this room, that already started to blaze the trail. And you can see here express parcel, you can see here ground freight, you can see ocean carriers, 3PL, all different type of customers. But enough with me talking. I would like to invite to the stage our great speakers for today. I would like to invite Dr. Tzvi Schreider, CEO of Freightos. Give him a warm welcome. I would like to invite Christian Knudsen, CTO of Ving Group. And I would like to invite David Bang, CEO of LifeConnex DHL. Thank you for coming. Have a seat. We're going to see today, by these three amazing speakers that have a lot of experience in transportation logistics and running their own companies, we're going to hear today how they ship a container, a vaccines container with vaccinations and medications in it from Shanghai to Benioff Medical Center here in San Francisco. How's that? Sounds good? All right. So we're going to start with the first thing is going to be the marketplace. Same thing like you do on travel when you book a flight or you book a seat on a flight. We're going to see how you can actually book a space for a freight. And then we're going to move to Rivenova TMS on our platform, which is going to be transportation management solution on Salesforce.com. We talked about the platform. And we're going to end up with the connectivity and how DHL are actually stay connected and stay closer to their customers. Tzvi, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Huh. Great to be here.
Where are you from, Tzvi?
Well, originally many years ago from London, but I've lived most of my life in Jerusalem.
Nice. Manishma.
Beseder, Yofi.
Great.
Inside joke, sorry.
So, Tzvi, Freightos. Well, what is Freightos like? Tell us about your vision. What was the gap that you saw? How did you start with this idea?
So in 2010, I took over as CEO of an electronics company making power supplies for lighting. So we made the little power supplies that are in the ceiling behind the LED lights, which are so popular. And so we designed these power supplies in Israel. And like many electronics, we manufactured it in Shenzhen in South China. And we were shipping every day, both ocean and air, from Shenzhen to the US, from Shenzhen to Europe. And we had a lot of spot quotes because people would suddenly build a hotel in Paris or an office building in Chicago. So we didn't have regular routes. We had a lot of spot quotes. And the thing which was really shocking is you call up an international freight forwarder. You say, I want to ship something from China to the US. And you wait 2, 3, 4 days just to get a price quote for door-to-door.
Here you go.
It's really appalling. Somebody forgot this whole industry in the last century. And we would sometimes lose the business. By the time we got a price to ship a container, we'd lost the business. And it was kind of confusing to me because I wasn't the first guy to ship something from China to America. This has been tried once or twice before. Just check the labels on your clothes. And yet, the whole process was just appallingly manual. And I'd been expecting that it was like passenger travel. I'd go to a website, I'd put in an origin, destination, see prices, but it didn't work that way. So after I had some good luck to sell that business to GE Lighting in 2011, I decided to get back into software and create like Expedia for international freight.
Amazing. Isn't it unbelievable? Seriously, somebody is taking what we have on our travel experience and putting that on shipping freight. Isn't it amazing? This is truly innovative. This is the future. So let's have a look. Let's see how it works.
Sure.
We need to switch to PC1. And now we see your screen.
All right, so this is our public website. It's a free service which you're welcome to try out. And in the scenario that Amichai painted, there was some pallets of vaccines in Shanghai. So let's say we have 2 pallets of vaccines. Here's some dimensions for the pallets. You can use inches or centimeters. Let's say it's 200 pounds per pallet. And we need to get it from Shanghai. Pick up, let's say, tomorrow. And we said it's going to San Francisco, right? And let's say I need insurance for the vaccines as well. Need some insurance as well. Let's say they're worth $20,000. And I need the customs brokerage as well to get it through US Customs. Okay, so what our system is doing now, we have the world's biggest database of freight rates. We've collected rates. Unfortunately, there are not many APIs in international freight, so we've actually collected 100,000 Excel sheets, and every day we put in another 100 Excel sheets with rates from ocean liners, airlines, rail, river barge, trucks, all around the world, different languages, different currencies, and we're collecting those every day. And now we're running our routing algorithm to get through all of the different ways to get from Shanghai to San Francisco. So you see we've got 87 results. If I look for the cheapest, it's going to be ocean, $768 full door-to-door. But it will take 16 days on the ocean and a total of 28 to 39 days door-to-door. If I want to go for a quicker option, I can look at the air. And so that's rather more expensive. It's $1,700 and up, but it will take just 5 to 10 days, or in this case, even less. And you can see the route as well. So it's from Shanghai City to the airport, flying to SFO, and then a truck from SFO to San Francisco. And you can even see the breakdown of every single charge along the way, just to make sure there's no surprises. So this is a full door-to-door price with every single fee, so that what you pay is exactly to the dollar what you were quoted, which doesn't always happen in this industry. And of course, you can see here different forwarders, American forwarders, Chinese forwarders, and others. You can see their reviews. You mentioned earlier, Amichai, the importance of reviews, and so we're using that as well to tell you which, the reputation of the freight forwarders. And you can go ahead and book online and pay with a credit card. So suddenly shipping, both air cargo and ocean online is just as easy as passenger travel, or just as easy as sending a FedEx box. And then afterwards, of course, we have the shipments page where you can track and trace your shipments online as well. So that's what we do.
This is amazing. So give him a round of applause. So did I switch to my computer now?
Nope.
No.
Yep.
Sorry. Just take time here. Okay. So this is how it's going to look on Salesforce from the back office, right? So do you want a few words about?
Yeah, so we're busy now integrating with Salesforce.com so that you'll get the same experience that I just showed you, but right integrated into your opportunity. So if you're doing export sales and you're using Salesforce.com as your CRM, then you'll be able to see the shipments to your international customer and calculate that right in the opportunity and add that to your price quote for your export. But similarly, if you're using Salesforce.com for procurement and you're doing import, perhaps from Asia, then you'll be able to use Freightos within Salesforce.com to also work out the full landed cost when you're doing procurement from Asia. So those are two scenarios. I just mentioned my colleague Anton here is working on the integration with Salesforce. And as well as integrating directly with Salesforce, we're also integrating with some of the vendors on the Salesforce platform. So I wanted to mention NeuroRed here. Lift up your hands, don't be shy. We've got a fantastic TMS, which is now embedding the instant spot rates from Freightos. So.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to welcome Christian Knudsen from Ving Group. How are you doing, Christian?
Thank you. Pleasure. Okay.
Where are you from, Christian?
So I'm from the great up north in Canada, specifically out of Montreal, born and raised. Enjoy coming down into the U.S. when I get an opportunity to as well.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
I wanted to ask you, I don't think many people know about Ving Group, so maybe you can say a few words about Ving Group, what you guys are doing, and also, what is the challenge that you try to solve for when you thought about Rivenova TMS?
Excellent. So basically, Vin Group is a large global forwarder / 3PL. We have two large divisions. We have our international division, VinPack Lanes. I recognize a couple of our ocean partners in here as well too today. And we have Vintrans Transport, which is our ground division, primarily servicing North America. Give you an idea of our volume, the company combined, we do roughly about 175,000 containers globally a year. So we're fairly busy. It keeps us very entertained. Now, about 2 years ago, I was brought on board the Vin Group as the CTO of the company. My background is very heavy in technology. It's very, very heavy in sales as well. So I'm a little bit of a nerd sometimes. Who here has ever seen Lord of the Rings? I'm sure most of you have seen Lord of the Rings. Aside from that little creepy gremlin that's running around in there, something that caught my attention a couple years ago was that ring that they had. The ring in Lord of the Rings, enabling people to control everything. Now, that stuck in my head. I wasn't looking at it from a control standpoint. I was looking at it from an enabling standpoint. What if I could take a platform and interconnect it in the cloud amongst all of my employees, all of my carriers, and all of my customers, all within one cloud-based environment? So I spent 6 months scourging all the different options out there. I looked at everybody. Ultimately, when it came down to it, I realized that Salesforce was the ultimate partner and tool. It was the one tool that enabled me to achieve everything that I was looking for from a completely cloud-based experience. I wanted to take my salespeople, my operational people, my accounting teams, I wanted to take my carriers, and I wanted to take my customers and embed them in one real-time, live cloud-based experience. And Rivenova was a big part of my journey. My journey now is still continuing. There's still new things that I look at to bring on board. But a couple of the challenges that I ran across over this last couple of years, antiquated legacy systems. When I came on board with the Vin Group, it was typical of most 3PLs, forwarders that you see today. We were still very heavily focused on faxing our customers, faxing our suppliers. We were doing a lot of Excel spreadsheets. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that today.
What is it? Spreadsheets?
A lot of spreadsheets. Lots of spreadsheets. We had a software-based TMS system. This was a system that had very, very limited functionality. It was built upon a server. It was slow. We couldn't make the customizations we wanted it. It never reacted properly. And it had, more importantly, it had no CRM-based services within it. It couldn't even connect to Salesforce if I wanted it to at the time. We had absolutely no automation. We had no tool structures within this. And really, we had zero remote capabilities. We could not connect to any of our tools or any of our software outside the office.
Oh.
I mean, it was a painful process. So once again, when I came on board with Salesforce, it was able to, not just on top of these challenges, it was able to offer, basically solutions. It was able to offer additional solutions on top of this. Salesforce allowed me to adapt. It allowed me to lower the cost of ownership. Full-scale automation. There are very, very few things that I could not either build into Salesforce to enable my teams, or working with third-party partners of Salesforce, like Revanova is another example here. We enabled ourselves. We enabled ourselves to get to that next level. We had scalability as we're growing, and we're growing very, very quickly now because of the new technologies that we've enabled ourselves with.
Yeah.
As we grow, as we continue to grow, scalability will never be an issue that we're going to run across. Enablement of our users. I keep talking about this. Enablement is the key functionality that I look for. I want to enable my partners. I want to enable my customers. I want to enable us and all of my teams combined. So, there's been a lot of different functions. Real-time data, cloud cybersecurity. Unfortunately, I don't have $25 million to spend per year on cloud security. Salesforce has already done this for me. I'm able to piggyback off what Salesforce is today, the tools that Salesforce has developed. All of these has enabled the Vin Group now to reach that next level. And that's only the beginning. There's still a lot more ahead of us.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. That sounds very exciting. And I want to take us back to the demo. And with that, I would like to invite you, Mike Horvath, CMO of Revanova, to continue from where we left off. So if you remember, vaccine pioneers, they want to bring vaccines from China to Benioff Children's Hospital. They place the order online on the marketplace. And now we want to see how we execute it with transportation management solution on Salesforce.com.
Yeah, just to give everybody a good understanding, this is what my platform looks like today internally.
Welcome, everyone. I'm going to apologize to the Maersk folks in advance. I used a different carrier. So basically, our TMS is designed to pull in orders from any source, so we can work with marketplaces, and we can provide door-to-door rates out of the TMS to marketplaces like Freightos. So the Vin Group could appear in their marketplace. We can pull in orders via EDI, customer orders entered via customer communities, and as well as users entering orders and trying to bid out and quote on orders online using the Salesforce platform. So Salesforce and the TMS are tightly integrated. So this order, let's say, came in from Freightos, and it's a new customer order. And right away, what I see is the customer's view of this order. I see from a freight broker and 3PL perspective, I can see that the sale was won. I can see the load status of the situation for this particular load. I have it pre-priced. I have my margins available to me, and I can see each leg of the freight plan moving out of Shanghai. In this case, we're moving into Oakland. And if I click on any one of these loads, I'm going to go ahead and see the specificity of each leg. And so I have a dray leg on the front end with a carrier in China, which I'm going to pay in Chinese currency, and that's all handled by the TMS. If I move to the ocean leg, you're going to see that I have the carrier quote from Hapag-Lloyd. If I look at the freight plan, I can see the voyage that I'm on. If I drill down into the voyage, I'm going to see everything about the voyage. And if I get split or I need to move, I have online access to via Intra to look at different schedules and maybe move this load a different way. So in the TMS, I can be flexible if things need to change after the order is booked. So moving back to the details, if I come back to the load, I'm also going to look at the freight plan from a different perspective. I'm going to come down and take a look at the information that's shipping. And so the other thing that we'll handle here is all the VGM submissions with the ocean carrier and make sure that the container is tracked, as well as any temperature tracking, telemetry data we're getting from the carrier will also be plotted and graphed here. So we can basically track the carrier and the container end to end, as well as any conditional requirements that I have for the shipment to make sure that it arrives on time as advertised and in a condition that you expect it to arrive in. Moving back to the final dray leg, you'll see that I've used Apex Transportation, which is ironic, but it's a real dray carrier here in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I'm not sure, maybe Mark Benioff owns the company. Maybe that was his first move into transportation and logistics. But if I take a look at the final leg, the final drayage leg, and I come over to the freight plan itself, every load in the system for every carrier move is all pinned to each stop. So all the details about each stop is tracked and managed by the TMS. All the stop level data is tracked and managed. So as it starts coming in from the carriers, whether they're geo-tracking them through their ELDs, in-cab technologies, or cell phones, we'll bring all that data in, normalize it, and plot it into the load, and we're going to calculate distance away, and we can map again whether they can make it on time or not. So if you take a look at the load itself, I can zoom out of the map. I can see actually there's a little weather coming through there. I've got real-time weather and traffic overlays. If I wanted to zoom down into, and as a truck, by the way, gets mapped to this grid as the geo-tracking information comes in. Then I can go poke down into the satellite view of this as well. And as, again, the truck will be mapped. So if I want to zoom into the location of the children's hospital, if I need to maybe assist the driver to get to the dock, he's on the wrong side of the building, can't find it, calls me up, I can do that. Or I can see if I'm going into a residential area and this isn't going to work at all based on the addresses I got. So the system's going to do that. It's going to proactively warn me when things start. All the events that come in this system will proactively warn me, and can all be put out on the customer community. So the customer can come in real time and look at that.
And you have no idea how happy this makes our operational people. When they have access to this real-time data, they know what's going on. Our customers know by going in through a client portal what's going on. So extremely, extremely helpful. Very, very beneficial.
And the last thing, because everybody that works in logistics knows this is a real nightmare, is all the documentation. And your carriers that you work with have, what's great about logistics is there's a sophistication level from very unsophisticated to very sophisticated they have to deal with. But in this case, I'm trying to get some proof of deliveries from my dray driver. My customer won't pay me until they get all the proof of delivery information. And so the ability to bring in all kinds of documents onto the system, and either automatically, or I'm going to show you the manual way, to come in and take a look at these documents, go ahead and open this PDF that I got from my carrier. I'm looking for PODs. And so I need to go get these onto my load so my customer will pay me. So I'm going to go ahead and open this document right on the platform. So the document's stored on the platform along with the information. I can see that this never happens, right? Carrier sends you the PODs along with their invoice and all the other stuff. What do I do? Okay, I got to print it, scan it, all that. So what I do is I'm basically going to come down and find the POD information, select both of those. I'm going to go ahead and save them against a load. So I'm going to pick a load out of the system. I'm going to save the documents. And I've saved them to the load. So just a quick overview. I can demo this for like 5 hours, and I'd love to. And if you want to stick around, I'll do it. But I just wanted to give you a quick overview of basically how the system kind of works end to end. I didn't show you all the accounting functionality we have, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mike. Wonderful.
Gotta chase them down.
And we're going to finish with a bang, right?
Finally. It's all planned out. That's how they do it.
David, thank you
That's
for
how
coming. How are you doing?
Hey, good to be
Where
here.
are you from?
Well, actually, I'm totally opposite from where Christian is from. I'm down in South Florida, Miami area. So sunny, wonderful weather.
Fantastic. Life connects DHL.
Yep.
There is more about it, so why don't you share with us?
Well, there's much more about it because we founded this organization back in 2005 as a joint venture between DHL and Lufthansa Cargo with another airline. Now we're solely owned 100% DHL, but actually our passion was that particular shipment, especially we're talking about vaccines, or it could be your diabetic shipments or clinical trial. We don't look at that shipment as just a cargo box and just documentation attached to it. That box or that particular packaging, actually there is a story behind it, there's a patient behind it. So our whole passion was all about product integrity and patient safety. So that's why 10 years ago when we first starting to use Salesforce, it was all about how do we connect all the dots when it comes to temperature-sensitive pharmaceutical shipping. So that's how we started with the journey, yes.
Fantastic. So what are we going to see today?
So, I mean, I wish I could have routed myself through Shanghai and then of course to take the ocean vessel and be here and on time to be on this stage, which I couldn't really do it, right? So I'm going to demo, I became a shipment. So I was a shipment from Miami, flying to San Francisco. I kind of moved around in different meetings, and this is my IoT devices here. I mean, sometimes I put it in the refrigerator, I put it out, and I put it in my pocket and I go around. So I'm going to just to show you more from a customer perspective. Our customers are pharmaceuticals, life science, and healthcare customers, because what they're really looking for ultimately is really the two things, which is actually for some of you could be very interesting, or some of you might be kind of news to you. In pharmaceutical industries, if it is not documented, it doesn't exist. If it is not documented, it doesn't exist. So as a shipping provider, for all the good reason, you might have routed a certain way. But if that routing wasn't part of your plan, an agreed upon plan, that is a deviation. So that whole compliance issue was a critical part. And then number two, which I'm going to show you, is our tracking and tracing, but it's a transparency. I don't use the word visibility, because I'm sure some of you have watched the funny commercial, LifeLock. Funny commercial is that I'm a security guard. I just report, oh, there's a theft, and you don't do anything about it, right? And basically, from a shipping perspective, our pharmaceutical customer, they're looking for, if something goes wrong, what can you do? What is your recovery action? And that has to be absolutely transparency. But then sometimes something really goes wrong, but then what is your corrective and preventive actions? And how do you do that so that in the future you don't really repeat the same mistakes again? So we're going to show you some demo quick.
So I would like to introduce Dina, Head of Operation and IT. Thank you very much for coming.
I'm just Vanna White here.
Yeah, so the first screen, again, we're talking purely, I mean, of course, we have over 1,000 users behind an operations, but this is a customer view when they go in to this website. As you can see, I mean, typical list of the shipments. The first shipment is me. That's me. I flew from Miami to San Francisco. I moved around, and you can kind of see there is a number called SOP. I think some numbers there. I cannot see it. That is actually agreed upon process for that particular vaccines from China to United States to San Francisco. And then that's a knowledge base too. So we have a community, we use the communities of the Salesforce and the knowledge of the Salesforce so that the whole knowledge is actually integrated with the shipment. So if I go into the next, if I click on that shipment, for example, and we of course open the multiple tabs, this is that shipments from Miami to San Francisco, or you can just think that this is from Shanghai to San Francisco. And so if you scroll down a little bit, again, you can kind of see how many miles I've been walking through this Dreamforce. So, having this.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so like, wow, it's amazing.
Doing pretty good job.
And I'm holding it right now, and I just got a POD because I told, of course, I told our operations team, when I hit this locations in a geofencing, that is your POD. And then I got an email from my phone and saying, how did you like the shipment performance? I get to rate it. Of course, I gave them all 4 stars. And so you can see all that. And then this is, it's all integrated. So there's a temperature, location, shock. But at the end of the day, again, going back to the LifeLock, right? If something is not right, what intervention can you really do? That's where the knowledge really comes. Because if you don't really understand, just because of having this, if it arrived in somewhere in Pudong, Shanghai airport, who are you going to call? Who are you going to talk to recover the shipments? What if it is stuck in a customs in Brazil that you need to actually do something about? And many times you cannot even get to the shipments. But then the whole knowledge and the whole process is absolutely integrated within back end and then using Force.com and then some of the custom objects and then community and knowledge. And you can kind of see the temperatures. I put that lower temperature for this vaccines. That's one I put into the refrigerator in my room, and I got an alert. Basically, that parameter is out of the ranges, and you will see the issues, which if you kind of click on view, it's that resolution. So our monitoring, our operations team recognize that this is the location you're in, but that's not the temperature we know it's supposed to be. So therefore, we're going to investigate and see what's going on happens. And of course, that we recover the solutions, make sure that the shipment is back on track, right? So that's also the part of the information. If you click on, let's go to the next tab. And everything is a mobile app now these days. Of course, we got a lot of feedback from the customers. You know, if you have a mobile app for sensitive pharmaceutical shipment, what would you want the most? And of course, you know, I don't want to scroll down and have all my shipments. I want to really just know when there's exception occur. You know, just something that is very important shipments, so I can favorite certain shipments, and something goes wrong, just alert me. But then again, not alerting is not enough. Just because, you know, you last scan and shipment delay in Brazil, that's not enough. What would you do, DHL, if the shipment is in delay in Brazil? Because this is a time-ticking vaccines. Usually, you cannot just store it in somewhere in warehouses for many, many days waiting for the custom clearances. So you can kind of see the issues that's like, oh, that my particular issues, there's just some problem. And then, of course, you can quickly even chat with your operator. And then the key is that operator know exactly who you are, and then exactly what vaccine this is, and what kind of a story behind this vaccine is, like routings and what's supposed to be, so that the whole conversation becomes extremely intimate. And so if you're gonna go to the next shipments, maybe, Dina?
Next shipment.
Yeah, just to show you. So if you're gonna click, and then of course, you know, again, this is a temperature sensitive. You see the temperatures, information along with the routings and exceptions, etc. So the last tab, which is this, actually, we kind of wanted to show you this. This is very relevant for us because this is, again, built on a force.com, and this is called Resilient 360. But this is actually is our security surveillance globally, what's happening. For example, if there's a natural disasters in a certain part of the world, we know exactly, it's not just knowing that news, but we know which shipment is connected to that disaster. Because all our suppliers and carriers, our shipping locations and constantly locations already pre-mapped, it's constantly getting mapped. And then so it actually gives a very precise issues that if there is a hurricane coming up, what exactly the shipment that we need to pay attention so that we can be quicker in the disaster recovery and all of that. So just wanted to show you that as a last slide, and that's something that we also used the force.com.
This is an amazing story about connected cargo, connected to people, and connected to IoT. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So with that, we are running over a little bit. I recommend you to text TTH to 38767 to plan your rest of the trail and what are the stops that you would like to make between now until Thursday. Again, TTH to 38767. And I want to thank you, all of you, for coming to this first ever breakout of transportation and logistics. Thank you so much. And I would like to thank you, Zvi, Christian, and David. Thank you so much. And thank you for the people who came to help us. Thank you, Dina. Thank you, Mike.